Greetings, everyone. You're tuned in to the Maria Cozette Show, where the left brain meets the right. I have a fantastic guest with me today, a very talented opera singer, so stay tuned for that very special interview. And of course, for any further information, you can visit mariacozette.com/television. We also have a special segment called Check Up with Dr. Bastian, so stay tuned for more of the Maria Cozette Show. You're back and you're watching the Maria Cozette Show. I am so excited to have this guest with me today. She is an incredible nurse practitioner and a very talented opera singer. Sosie Mardirossian is here. Hello.
Hi, I'm Maria.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight with you.
It is my pleasure. I feel very blessed to have you here. So before we start talking about your creative side, tell me all about your background as a nurse practitioner.
I specialized in the modality of dialysis in nephrology, and with assertive approach to the modalities, I perfected the outcomes of the patients to supersede even transplanted patients. Wow. And I was the first to prove, against my director's belief, the claudication, which is the preferred arterial calcification of renal failure patients, that it could be reversed 100%, not
Wow.
only improved. And that sort of carried us to other outcomes and data that I presented to the international symposiums in nephrology. And 7 different countries actually implemented my modality.
That is amazing.
into the European countries. And I was recognized by Oxford University for my outcomes, and Cambridge Who's Who and Marquis Archives.
Amazing.
And I was awarded a humanitarian award for my achievements of the renal therapies. And that exposure actually brought me here in 2005, and I was the first to establish the home hemodialysis and the nocturnal daily dialysis for our cultural background people here in California.
Wow, that is
And
amazing.
Thank you, and it's copyrighted to me with the nocturnal dialysis.
Wow, that is
modality.
absolutely amazing. And I luckily know you because you're my best friend's mom, and I know what an incredibly hardworking woman you are. So it's no wonder all the achievements that you've had in your career and in healthcare. And it just so happens that you're very talented. And so let's talk about your creative side.
Yes.
When were the first experiences performing, and when did you first start singing and kind of discover this passion for music?
I actually grew up as a child in a very musical environment in a family. My parents, my grandmother, and my aunt, they were vocally talented as well as musically talented. And most of the songs I learned as I was growing up. The first time I realized that I was gifted with the same talent from both of my parents, giving me 3 octaves of soprano, which I didn't
Wow.
realize until then. Early teens, when I sang 2 opera arias, one was Pure Giant Suit, Solveig's Song from Edvard the Greek, and it's Handel's Circe's opera, Ombra Mai Fiu. Those were my 2 songs performed
Wow.
initially. And that sort of opened my passion into singing. And I've always carried it on the side of my career.
Yeah, and that's very important to do. That's what my
Yes.
whole show is about, how important it is to have a creative outlet, and you're lucky enough to be talented so that, you could freely practice that.
It has actually brought me to have such a broad media and audiences of a different background. I have performed many times here in celebrity centers, which the audience urged me to come up with a recording of my album,
Yes.
my last album, and
Let's talk about
titled Triumph.
Yeah, and I have the copy here with me because you gifted this to me some time ago, and it's been blaring through my speakers ever since at my home. Let's talk about Triumph a little bit.
Yes, so this came about for the audience, even though they would react to my songs and saying, usually they would tell me, even though they couldn't understand what I sang, because I was singing multifaceted, multicultural songs with my concerts.
Right.
And it sort of forced me to sit down and poetically translate some of our songs from Gomidas and our folk classics as well into English. And I ended up singing bilingually, Armenian and English, the songs in the album.
Nice.
And it actually was presented to Human Rights Awards by the Human Rights International president and founder, Mary Shuttleworth. It went all the way to Obama and Michelle Obama, and I got a congratulations and a thank you letter from them. Mainly of the title Triumph was written, the song Freedom of Mankind Around the World, and the music by my pianist Albert Bubulian. And the song itself was very powerful, which united together with the Requiem for Genocide, the video, and presenting our genocide and stemming into the atrocities of humans around the world.
Wow, amazing. And so I do want to mention to the audience that you can find Sosie's music. Just search Sosie Mardirossian and you can find Triumph, the album, as well as Requiem for a Genocide. And so, you know, some people don't know a lot about what goes on kind of behind the stage, so to speak, or, you know, prior to you performing or recording. What are some vocal exercises that you do?
I'm always rushed to my concerts, not even rehearsing sometimes.
Oh, no.
And it was just like a word of mouth saying, you know, the key of this song is this and the key of this.
Right.
And I literally haven't rehearsed at any point with my pianist as we performed, especially the later years. But I found most of the time that just humming, you know, little humming, it
warms
sort of
up
gives
the
me the warm up for it.
Yeah.
So I'm a very quick go, and I think because my talent is God-given, it seems like I'm always ready to sing. You know,
you were born ready. You were born ready. I love it. So with that said, you know that I love music. It's my life. And so you must agree to bless my set with your voice. So whenever you're ready, if you can sing a little something for us.
Of course. Gomidas is my ideal entity. I'm going to sing something from his songs.
Perfect. Oh, beautiful. There aren't enough words for me to say how that made me feel. Thank you for that. Thank you. I've never had an opera singer here, so thank you for that. That was beautiful. And so let's talk about upcoming projects that you have. I know that you're working on some music. What can people expect from Sosie?
We are actually working on a huge project. It's been almost a year because of all the interruptions in between. I have, as I wanted to do even before this album recording, I wanted to do all the operas.
Right.
And which I have accomplished. And thank God, we're going on to, I've done the classics, some of the classics, and we have basically 4 projects.
Okay.
The opera, classics, the Armenian songs with different styles of singing, and Christmas. And hopefully I'll be starting the Christmas soon. And we're looking forward to end it by summer end and be ready for a concert, because audiences have been waiting and waiting for us to perform. So it's nearing the time.
Nice, nice. And yeah, it takes a lot to make an album, even a song. It could take months on end. And I'm sure that you're a perfectionist, and so you want everything to be perfect.
Yes.
You want it to sound perfect. There are a lot of steps in mixing, mastering, and all of that. So I get it, and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. Please keep me posted on your concert, because I will be there. And then this question I ask every guest is, why do you think it's important to have a creative outlet as a professional?
I think for me, it has made my voice reach out and not only touch people with their feelings of the songs, but also I keep getting comments from almost all of my audiences and my patients, and they say, I don't only physically heal them, I also heal them spiritually.
Right.
And it seems that my songs, they use it for meditation.
That's so beautiful.
And they feel that it has a healing effect to their soul, which is, for me, it's a huge blessing to realize that I can touch the souls of people with my songs.
Of course, yeah. It's where music or your music and your voice meet in the most profound way with your career. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yes, and please, again, keep me posted on all your amazing things coming up. And once again, to all my viewers, please check out Sosie Mardirossian for all of her music online, and stay with us for more of the Maria Cozette Show. This is Check Up with Dr. Bastian, where we talk about health-related issues with orthopedic surgeon based in Glendale, Dr. Sevak Bastian. Welcome.
Hey, Maria.
Hello. So let's get to it. Today's topic is hypertension, and nearly 75 million Americans suffer from it. So what is considered to be high blood pressure?
So high blood pressure or hypertension is really based on what numbers show up on your blood pressure read. So the top number is your systolic blood pressure, the bottom is the diastolic, and we have different definitions or cutoffs for each of those numbers. Before, like when I was in training or in medical school, it was considered anything over 140. 140 is the top number I'm referring to, the systolic, and anything over 140 was considered hypertension. And
I see.
from 130, 140 was considered like pre-hypertension, but the guidelines have all kind of changed over the last couple of years, and that's to kind of raise the awareness of high blood pressure and its effects.
Right.
So they want more people to be concerned about it and start treating it early on. Not necessarily with medications, but with diet, exercise. And so now the cutoff is 120 to 129 is considered high blood pressure, not pre-hypertension anymore. That term is old term now. And anything 130 to 140 is considered stage 1 hypertension, and anything over 140 is now considered stage 2. So when I was in training, I thought 140 and up was hypertension. Now it's considered stage 2 hypertension.
Okay.
So that affects when we want to start medication and when we want to kind of start really getting after doing some of the lifestyle modifications that we talk about all the time, like diet and exercise. So you live not only a long life,
but a good life.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so what triggers hypertension?
So unfortunately, like a lot of things in medicine, sometimes we don't know. And up to about 95% of the time, we don't know why people have high blood pressure. So we think it's genetic. We think it's some sort of genetic component that's causing a constriction of the vessels, leading to a high pressure. About 5% of the time, we get a known definition of blood pressure. We call that secondary hypertension, so that we know it's coming from something else. And those could be a vast array of things. But most of the time we don't know. We do see it a lot in families. We know there's a genetic component. We know there's a stress component. We know there's a high salt content component and other things like that. So we try to adjust those things, and those adjustments can lower the points. Not drastically, but definitely can lower it a few points.
Right. And so what are some diseases that could develop as a result of having hypertension?
Right, so why do people care, right? You don't usually feel high blood pressure unless it's through the roof, and anything 180 and up is considered an urgency or even an emergency if it's over 210. And that can cause blindness, stroke, kidney damage. But what happens with high blood pressure and diabetes too, they're kind of like slow killers. They slowly add up, and then when it takes effect, it's a little too late. So the main thing that you want to look out for with high blood pressure is cardiovascular issues, heart, coronary artery disease, stroke, and of course kidney damage. So those are the kind of the main problems that could occur from long-standing untreated hypertension.
I see. And so should someone suffer from hypertension, how often should they check their blood pressure?
Blood pressure is a very dynamic thing. It's always up and down. I got my uncle right now checking his too, and he's all through the roof. So it's always a range, and there's any vital sign always has a range. You want to get multiple data points so you know where you're running and what the average is. So I would recommend at least 3 times a day, Monday afternoon, evening. If it's highly uncontrollable, or if you're kind of feeling a little different, maybe check it at that time as well, but at least 2 to 3 times. If you truly have hypertension and you want to get a good control of it, you want to know when it goes up, when it goes down, and you start getting a feel of how you feel when that blood pressure does go up.
And what are some things that you feel that are indicators that your blood pressure may be up at that point?
That's an excellent question, because it's different every time, and a lot of people feel differently. If you're running in the 130s, 140s, 150s consistently, a lot of people don't feel anything. They don't. But when you're up over 180, that's when we tell patients that, hey, look, you got to go to the hospital. You got to go to the ER. And we got to get it down. So a lot of times it's a feeling of uneasiness, uncomfortable, and just a vast array of atypical symptoms that are also similar with, like, a small stroke or a small heart attack. You may have those types of feelings as well.
Right. And so can you explain to us the proper way of checking your blood pressure?
Yeah, sure. So we do it every time. Patients come in and we take it all the time. And of course it's always high because they're nervous at the doctor's office. That's called...
They have white coat syndrome?
White coat hypertension. So we definitely do see that. And then we try to calm them down, and we make sure that their arm is resting. So don't take it when your arm is elevated like this. You want to make sure it's rested on a flat surface, so you're not kind of holding it up on your own. You do want to make sure it is a little elevated, of course, or at the level of your heart. You usually put it, there's really well-defined lines on the blood pressure cuff of where it's supposed to go, but you want to generally put it right here, right where they draw blood for kind of blood draws or blood samples. It's called the antecubital fossa, and that's a good spot. And you want to make sure you do the same thing every time. Make sure your machine is checked, make sure you got a good one. And there's some cheap ones that you can get at a regular drugstore, and they're very efficient. There's some where you can even check down in your forearm, but I would recommend checking up a little higher.
Yeah. And so now it is time to debunk the myth. So every segment we take a moment to debunk a popular myth, and today's myth is supplements always make you healthier. Is that myth or truth, Dr. Bastian?
So many supplements out there, right?
Right.
So it depends on what you're going for. If you want to take like steroids for lifting, then yeah, it's going to help you get bigger. But there's always side effects, just like with any medication. Any supplement has side effects. With respect to hypertension, there's a lot of natural kind of remedies to try to get your blood pressure down, but that's only going to decrease it by 3, maybe max 5 points. Lifestyle changes like diet and exercise are your best bet. That's going to change your blood pressure or drop it down by 7, max like maybe 10 points systolic. But honestly, sometimes you need medications. Medications attack the specific problem at the pathway where you have a problem. And there's multiple ways of treating hypertension. The medications all work differently to reduce your blood pressure, and they work at different levels of your body. So sometimes you need a little extra help. Supplements may make you feel better, but they're not as well studied, and they don't have long-term data. So sometimes you need some medication. You need a little extra help sometimes.
Yeah, so you're debunking.
It's debunked.
It's debunked.
It's official.
Yes.
Debunked.
Supplements do not always make you healthier.
No.
That is a myth. So thank you so much for checking in, Dr. Bastian.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and stay tuned for more of the Maria Cozette Show. Know the Greats, where we spotlight a legend. Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky was a Russian composer of the Romantic period, whose works are among the most popular in the classical repertoire. He was the first Russian composer whose music made a lasting impression internationally, bolstered by his appearances as a guest conductor in Europe and the United States. He has many famous works, but two of my favorites are Swan Lake and The Nutcracker. His music has always had great appeal in virtue of its tuneful, open-hearted melodies, impressive harmonies, and colorful, picturesque orchestration, all of which evoke profound emotion. At the age of 4, he made his first recorded attempt at composition, a song written with his younger sister Alexandra. In 1845, he began taking piano lessons with a local tutor, through which he became familiar with Frédéric Chopin's mazurkas and the piano pieces of Friedrich Kalkbrenner. He was influenced and deeply affected by Mozart's music. That's a wrap for the Maria Cozette Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, much love to my guest today, Sosie Mardirossian. Thank you for blessing our set with your beautiful voice. And special thanks to Dr. Sevak Bastian for checking in. Stay tuned every week on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. I'm out, and remember everyone, stay creative.